Now, everyone in my family often has strange reactions to things. Like, take for example, in the house I grew up in, this one time the basement flooded, and it was like really flooded. My mom started freaking out. It was before I was born, so this is how the story was relayed to me. My mom was freaking the hell out. The basement was flooding, like, and she runs over to my dad, and she's like, "The basement's flooding. We gotta go get the stuff that's down there. That's important." And my dad opened the door to look downstairs. He sees all the water, and then he turns around, and my mom's like, "What are you doing? Why are you going downstairs?" And my dad's like, "Hold on, it's wet. I need my bathing suit." And he went and got his bathing suit and went downstairs, started swimming around in there and what have you. Uh, and like me, One Week by Bare Naked Ladies, where one of the lyrics is like, "I'm the kind of guy who laughs at a funeral, can't understand what I mean, well, you soon will." That's how I react at funerals. I also laugh. I just laugh. And just think of funny stuff, and then I laugh. So people in my family often don't react appropriately to the situation, which people may find strange, but it's kind of normal to me at this point.
When someone meets my family, they inevitably ask, "How are you, you?" Why is that, you ask? Have I got a story for you?
Now, something you're going to need to know about me is that I am very old. On the inside, I'm like 1,000 years old. I'm just an old man. Sometimes an old woman. My sweet mates used to call me a 90-year-old woman, obviously, because I always have a packet of coupons with me. I will bring my coupons with me wherever we go. I will get the best deal. Don't you worry. I will get that best deal. I also drive incredibly slowly, but now my friends are starting to understand why I drive incredibly slowly. Not This is discounting the fact that a couple weeks ago the brake line ruptured in my car, and I I drove incredibly slowly that day. But discounting that, normally I drive really slowly because I've had terrible experiences in the car. Like right after I got my license and I was driving around, I'm driving the car, driving the car, driving the car. There's like a pothole or something. My mom's in the passenger seat. She turns to me and she goes, "There's a hole in the road!" And she grabs the wheel of the car and jerks it to the side. And I'm like, "Ah, we're gonna die!" And to this day, I will outright refuse to drive if my family's in the car because they're gonna grab the wheel, and I don't want to die that way. Like there's ways I want to die. That's not one of them. But I drive incredibly slowly, and also on top of that fact, my GPS says warning when you exceed the speed limit by like 1 mile per hour, and then it says warning exceedingly faster and more often the more you exceed the speed limit. So if you're going like 10 miles past the speed limit, it's like warning, 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 and it gets really fucking annoying. So I just try my best to drive exactly the speed limit all the time because I don't want to hear any of that, and I don't want anyone to grab the wheel while I'm driving. Because I'm pretty sure that's a way to kill people. I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm pretty sure that's a way to kill people. Just like brake line ruptured. Can I tell you guys? When the brake line ruptured in my car, I called my mom. I'm like, "Hey, I don't got brakes." I somehow made it like there's a big hill, a whole bunch of huge hills, and then like you hit the main road, and the brake line popped as I was about to make the turn up the set of hills, and I was like on the main road. I'm about to turn into the turn lane, and I push the brakes, and nothing happens, and I'm like, "What the? What? What? What?" And like I'm like freaking out, and I'm like jamming the brake. I'm like ah, and well, no, I freak out, but mostly on the inside because I learned to drive in the Banshee's car, which at the time had almost no brakes at all. Like when I was learning to drive, I couldn't stop at stoplights unless I saw them turn yellow before because the car couldn't stop, and that's the car I learned to drive in. So, when my brakes gave out completely, I was like, "Yeah, I'll be fine. I've dealt with this." So, like, you guys can't see it because, yeah, whatever. This angle does not include my legs. Um, so like I was braking. I'm gonna pretend I'm doing it with my hands. I'm braking. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. I'm holding it. I'm holding it. I'm holding it. And For some reason, if you held it down all the time, eventually the brakes would catch, and then the car would jerk to the side. So I somehow made it home okay, without having to use the emergency brake, just waiting for it to catch and the car to jerk to one side. I made it home. I call my mom. I'm like, "Hey, Ma, I ain't got no brakes," and she's like, "What? What do you mean you ain't got no brakes?" I'm like, "I ain't got no brakes. The brakes stopped working, and now I'm leaking stuff. So I'm gonna assume that's brake fluid, and my brake line ruptured, and what have you." And I posted on Facebook that I had. My friends were like, "Somebody tried to kill you," and when I come home, my mom comes in here. She sticks her head in the door, and she's like, "Hey." I'm like, "Yes." She goes, "You know what happened to you with the brake line? That's what happens when somebody tries to kill someone else. You know?" Now that's an uncomfortably long time for someone to be staring at you after they tell you that someone may have tried to murder you. So I'm pretty convinced that it was my family who tried to murder me. I'm pretty convinced at this point. Pretty convinced. Other reasons why I'm really old is that I say things like Nito. Um, I don't know if you guys are fans of Pete Holmes. They did a sketch when he had X-Men, which is he would do skits where he was Professor X firing the X-Men, and one of them was Magneto came in, and Magneto was like, "What do you mean I'm not cool? I have Nito in my name." And becomes Professor X is like, "And you think the kids these days say Nito?" Mm-hmm. I see. I say Nito. Uh, One of my nicknames is actually Grandpa. I used to take care of a lot of the international students, and especially the Chinese kids who would come. I say kids, but they most of them were older than me, which is part of the joke. And while we were at school, and a couple of them started to call me Grandpa because I was like an old man trying to help them out, and I get really tired and tuckered out. Um, and so they started calling me Grandpa, and like that name has stuck to this day. People still call me Grandpa. So I am old at heart. It's a thing. I'm old at heart. But there are some things about old people that I'll just never get. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, ooh, he's so mad at everyone in our family for wanting to leave. And by wanting to leave, I mean having their own lives. So like when they move away from the rest of their family, she fucking hates them for no reason. How dare they leave the family? Meanwhile, 90% of our family lives in the tri-state area. Uh, and Ooh lives in Florida. But she's mad at us for leaving the New York area. Okay. Okay. Sure. Like that's something I don't get. Like if you want to go live your life, go live it. I'm actually pretty happy that the favorite child moved to Arizona because it's less times for her to just show up and be like bloop and drop a baby on your lap and walk away. Um, she's actually coming to visit soon, which is why this episode has me wearing the same clothes as the last one because it's filmed on the same day because I have a lot to do before they get here that I won't be able to do at all when they're here. Like that's one thing about old people I don't get. I I'm not gonna be mad at someone for trying to live their own life. I almost said to leave. No, they're gonna be mad at me when I leave. When I get the fuck out of here. I had a conversation with Grim a while back where he was like, nah, it doesn't. He's been arguing with me about how when I leave my family, I'm like, no. When I leave, I'm gone. Like, he's like, you can't do that. They're family. You can't do that. And a little while ago, he was like, I get it now. When you leave, you're gonna be gone. You're gonna be one of those people that never talks to them again. And I'm like, I hope. Oh, yes. He's like, you could do it. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I know. So yeah, that's one thing I don't get. I'm not gonna be that kind of old person. I don't think it's gonna happen. Another thing that I don't understand about Ooh is that she thinks, well, this is something common to pretty much everyone older than us, that they think that everyone younger than them has to do everything for them, or just has to do everything in general. I don't get it. Like when Ooh stayed with us and she had me trapped in Chitopia, we were not the first family member she stayed with. She actually stayed with my uncle, who's not my uncle, who's actually Oo's nephew. Um, she stayed with him, and when she called him up, she was like, "Hey, I'm coming up for treatment. I'm gonna stay with you." And he was like, okay, but I have a job. I'm not going to, quit my job, take off all this time from work just to take care of you. Like I got shit to do." And she was absolutely furious with him. "You're not gonna take care of me?" So she came up here, basically so that I could take care of her, but also so the Banshee could take care of her, because the Banshee is a glory seeker, but you'll hear about that later on. And the Banshee must help everyone, which is awful. If you've seen any of the previous episodes, you know her definition of helping is different than everyone else's definition of helping. It's kind of like helping in Reboot, which is actually getting a reboot, but that's off topic. Reboot, the TV show, was like the first all CG TV show. There's an episode where the main character's like, "I want to be smarter than everyone else." And when he makes that wish, what it does is actually make everyone really, really dumb, except for him, he's also wasn't that bright. But now everyone around him is really dumb, and he has to run a race, and the other characters are physically holding him back, and they're like, we are helping," because they're so fucking stupid. And that's kind of how my family is with helping, but especially the Banshee. Also, the Banshee has a phrase that she uses where she will help you even if she has absolutely no idea about what she's doing, which is literally all the time. But she says doing something is better than nothing, and that's just simply not true. In all cases, that is not true. In some cases, maybe, yes. But in all cases, definitely not true. So she has that phrase, and she has to help out. So Ooh decided that she would come here and stay with us because we would take care of her. And we did, sort of. But she really hates her nephew now for not quitting his job to take care of her, because that's what he should do. And on top of that fact, Ooh is always upset. For whatever you do for her, it's always wrong or not right. So even though my sister went and did everything for her, she doesn't like my sister for whatever reason. I didn't make her a TV dinner one time, and she's upset because she told me she didn't want a TV dinner. Like it's my fault. I didn't want to do it. I asked her if she wanted one. She said no. Was I supposed to read no as yes? I don't know. I don't know. But one thing about old people that I finally learned the secret of. So I don't know if you've noticed this, but for the most part, all old people, especially when they visit, they must have a secret stash somewhere. Like the older people in your family, they always give like the little kids money, and I'm always like, where the hell does all that money come from? I don't understand. Like when my aunt was here, the only way she could get to the bank was if I drove her. And like sometimes she just had money that she didn't have before, but I didn't drive her to the bank, and I'd be like, where's the secret stash? I don't understand. All old people must have a secret stash hidden somewhere. Somewhere, like maybe like they hide it under their mattress or in a sock or something. But they always have a hidden stash of money, and I couldn't understand that. I was like, where is it? It doesn't make sense. And then I'm thinking, like, it can't be something that Ooh wears because she would have pooped on it. And she doesn't hand out poopy money. No one would take poopy money. Some people would take poopy money, but most people wouldn't take poopy money because poopy money is gross. But one thing I've always wondered, and the last time my aunt was here, I found out the secret stash exists. It's real. So one day she was like, oh, yeah, I gotta pay some bills or whatever, so can you go out to my car? And there's a thing inside a thing inside a thing. And I was like, what? She's like, just go in there and bring that in. It was a secret stash of money. And I was like, holy shit, it exists. I don't think she normally carries it in her car, because that would be really hard to get at all the time. But she actually has a secret stash. It really exists. It's a thing. It's not like old people just like pull money out of their ears and shit. No, they really do have a secret stash. And I hope one day, I hope I live long enough to also have a secret stash. I'm gonna make it super hidden. It'll be like in a hole in the wall, behind a poster, behind a picture frame, and shit. And it's gonna be awesome. All these things I have to look forward to. Like one of Valley Fajiri was complaining the other day that she had her first gray hair, and I was like, shit, I want my first gray hair. I want to be distinguished. So distinguished. No, I actually really like gray. So like I'm not worried at all about having gray hair. I think that would be awesome. Because gray is like my favorite color. I'm weird, I know.
Hey there, guys and gals. Thanks so much for watching, as always. If you click the link on the left, you'll be taken to the previous episode. If you click the link on the right, you'll be taken to the playlist, where you can watch them all. Now, for the next episode, let me tell you about my Mondays.